Because of Michael.
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 Let's go straight to Fox.
Age of 19, Michael Levin left the comforts of suburban Philadelphia to follow his dream. He joined the IDF, becoming what Israelis call a lone soldier.
On Tuesday, he was killed in action at Ait al-Shab, one of the fiercest battles troops faced in South Lebanon since the war began 3 weeks ago.
The consul general came in. We were just getting ready to have lunch, and I thought, oh, he wants to talk to me because of last night. Then they called me into my boss's office and sat me down and told me. And the first thing I said was, are you sure that it's Michael? And they said, will Michael take his dog tags off? And I said, of course not. And I didn't know at the time that Israelis have two sets, one in their boots. And they told me, though his body was still in Lebanon, that they were under heavy fire, that they couldn't get him out.
When we got to the cemetery, this is the 9th of Av, this is Tisha B'Av. We get to the cemetery and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people outside the cemetery. And my very first thought was, great, the war's still going on. There must be 5, 10, who knows how many, 15 funerals going on in there. It's going to be crazy. So we walked into the cemetery. Those hundreds of people outside turned into thousands and thousands of people inside.
They were up in the trees.
And we couldn't comprehend what was going on. As it turns out, Michael's funeral was the only funeral that day. There were trucks that went through the city of Jerusalem with loudspeakers. Saying that a lone soldier from America had fallen in combat and was being buried that day. And they came from all over the city. It was overwhelming. Yeah, it really was.
When Michael left, he didn't go through any organization to come here. He went to New York and filled out visa papers and left. And slept on a park bench for the first couple of nights because he didn't know where to go. And there was no one to help him with anything. He didn't know Hebrew at the time. And even once he learned it, it wasn't that great for people to help him to look at least, where to go. And he realized that if he had this problem, there have to be other lone soldiers that are having the same problem.
And that's when he went to a friend of his, someone who helped lone soldiers, an older gentleman, and he said to him, when I finish my service in a year, he says, you and I are going to start a lone soldier organization, a national organization to help lone soldiers. It's been quite a challenge to make Michael's dream, his vision, come to fruition. But with the help of a lot of great people here in Israel and a lot of great people back in the United States, we have a foundation in the United States, the Michael Levin Lone Soldier Foundation, and people that are concerned about Israel, that are concerned about supporting lone soldiers and making sure they're taken care of before, during, and after their service, contribute to our organization. And the money goes right to Israel, to the organizations, the facilities that have been established to help lone soldiers. That's what they could do. They could support our organization, because without the funds that we receive, that these facilities desperately need, I'm not sure they'd be able to stay, in a business, that they'd be able to exist and be as effective as they are and run the kind of programs they are. There's close to 7,000 soldiers currently in the IDF, and a good portion of them are finding their way to these facilities for all kinds of help and meals and programming, Shabbat meals, some for religious services, some for camaraderie, for doing your laundry, for all kinds of programming. So that's one thing people can do. They can reach out to us and support our organization.
Seeing the good that it's doing, it's like a spark again. I think the dream is bigger than he could have ever dreamed. The reality of what we're doing.
His dream, his vision has come true. Our own soldiers are being helped in a way that they never were before in this country. Every year when we stand next to Michael's Kevar on Memorial Day on Yom HaZikaron, Harriet and I are there for about 4 hours, and we are inundated with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who come up to us. They want to pay their respects, they want to tell you their story, but most of all, they want to tell us how and why they were inspired by Michael's story.
One of his good friends, when she comes to the cemetery on Yom HaZikaron, she'll walk right up to us, and this is at 10 o'clock in the morning before the siren blows, and she'll bring out a bottle and she'll say, "This is what Mikey wanted, no crying. We're gonna have a l'chaim to him." And if he were sitting here, I'd say the same thing. Stop crying. We've achieved what his dream was.
Because of Michael.
So much because of Michael.